While the body seeks meaning, the soul waits for you to remember why you came. Joe Dispenza. Before we begin, here's a small ritual. Write in the comments one word that accurately describes your current state. Sign it, and let's get started. You wake up in the morning, and something already feels wrong. Not because anything specific happened, but because there's this weight, invisible, old, familiar, like a fog that never really lifts. You keep living, working, trying, helping others, and still, something feels missing. You've probably told yourself, it's just stress, burnout, hormones, maybe age. But deep down, you know, it's not that. There's this strange kind of emptiness inside. Not dramatic, not loud, just a quiet hole. A place where something should be, but it isn't. And you don't even know what exactly you're longing for. You've tried to fix it. Therapy, books, advice from those who sound like they know. But after every attempt, you land back here with yourself. And it feels like no one really sees what's actually going on. You keep functioning. You smile when needed. You do your part. But inside, it's like you're watching your own life from behind a glass wall. And here's the truth most people won't tell you. You're not broken. This emptiness, this ache, it's not a malfunction. It's a message. It's your soul trying to speak through what you call pain. But most systems out there are designed to mute that voice. They want you to fix, optimize, distract, to keep going, to be better. But your soul doesn't care about performance. It came here for something very different. You didn't just appear in this life by accident. Your soul chose this body, this time, these parents, this story, and yes, this pain. Not because it's fair, but because it's necessary. There's something inside you that you haven't remembered yet. Not learned, remembered. And until you do, life will feel off. No matter how much you achieve, no matter how many people say you're doing great, because your soul didn't come here just to survive. It came to complete something, to finish a thread that began lifetimes ago, to embody a potential you've only scratched the surface of. And maybe that sounds distant, unreal, even spiritual in a way that feels uncomfortable. But what if that discomfort is exactly the edge your mind has built to protect you from the truth that there's more to you than you've been told, that your anxiety is not weakness, that your sadness is not a problem to solve. They're both signals, doorways, invitations to go deeper, not away. Most people will never hear that call. They'll keep searching for answers outside, hoping that the next trick or system or person will make it better. And that's okay, but you're still here, listening, which means a part of you is already awake. And maybe all you need right now is permission, not to fix yourself, but to feel, to remember. Because once you do, things begin to change. Not fast, not easy, but real. And that's when the real work begins. Most of what you've been taught about healing is backwards. You were told to get rid of pain, to calm it down, to replace it with something more positive. But the more you've tried to fix yourself, the more broken you've felt. And that's not your fault. You've been doing everything right. But the system you trusted was never designed to bring you home to yourself. It was designed to keep you functioning, productive, acceptable, but not whole. You see, the part of you that hurts isn't the enemy. It's the part that still remembers what was lost. The part that holds the pain of not being seen, not being heard, not being chosen when it mattered most. That pain didn't begin last year. It didn't even begin in childhood. It's older than this life, older than this body. It's a thread you've carried through lifetimes, and in this one, you finally have the strength to face it. But first, you have to stop believing that it's wrong to feel what you feel. This world will always reward you for being fine, for putting on the smile, for staying in line. But your soul didn't come here to perform. It came to embody truth. And the truth is, you are not okay. Not in the way they want you to be. You're waking up from a long forgetting. You're starting to remember what you came here for. And that remembering will shake everything that's false. Most therapists won't tell you this. Most coaches don't know it. Because what we're talking about here isn't surface-level change, it's soul-level return. And that kind of transformation can't be packaged. It can't be sold. It has to be lived, felt, endured. You won't get a certificate for it, no applause. But what you will get is yourself. The version of you that existed before the world taught you how to disappear. And maybe that's what this pain is really about. Not punishment, not karma, but preparation. Your soul didn't come here to suffer. It came here to complete something, to bring to life everything you are still capable of becoming. Your gifts, your power, your voice, they were never lost, just buried under layers of adaptation. Now those layers are cracking. That's why it hurts. But that pain is sacred. It's proof that something inside you is still alive, still fighting to come forward, still ready to be lived. The reason most healing methods don't work long-term is because they start with the assumption that something is wrong with you, that your anxiety, your anger, your sadness are problems to fix. But what if they're not problems at all? What if they're intelligent responses to a world that has constantly asked you to betray yourself just to belong? What if your nervous system isn't broken, but exhausted from carrying the weight of everything you were never allowed to express? That heaviness in your chest, the tightness in your throat, the tension in your stomach. They're not flaws, they're unspoken truths. Energy that got stuck because you were taught it wasn't safe to be you. And here's where it gets deeper, because this life you're living right now, it's not your first. You didn't just drop into this body at random. Your soul has been moving through lifetimes, collecting experiences, wisdom, wounds, and each time it comes back not just to repeat, but to remember, to reclaim the parts of itself that were lost along the way. That means your patterns, your struggles, your deepest fears. They're not just psychological, they're soul memories. And until you face them, they keep showing up in new forms, new relationships, new failures, but always the same root. This is why ignoring your pain or covering it up with positivity never works, because the soul doesn't want comfort. It wants evolution. It wants integration. And for that to happen, you have to go into the places that scare you. The parts of you you've rejected, hidden, shamed. That's where the power is. Not the polished version of you, not the one who says the right things, the messy one, the scared one, the angry one. That's the part of you that still holds raw, unfiltered life force. And when you stop pushing it away, it becomes fuel. People think purpose is about doing something big, changing the world, leaving a legacy. But real purpose starts when you stop abandoning yourself, when you meet your pain instead of escaping it, when you listen to the truth under the story. Because the moment you do that, you begin to shift, not just emotionally, energetically. You stop playing the game. You stop outsourcing your value. You begin to live from a place that no one can take from you. And that's when your presence starts to affect others. Not through effort, through alignment. You don't need to become someone else. You need to remember who you were before the world told you to be small. And that remembering isn't just for you. It's for everyone your life will touch when you finally live without apology. That's what your soul came here to do, to go as deep as possible into forgetting, and then find its way back, and by doing so, to become a mirror for others who are still lost. This is the path. It's not easy, it's not clean, but it's real. And somewhere inside you, you've always known that. Most psychologists won't talk about this because it doesn't fit into the neat frameworks. It can't be measured, diagnosed, or treated in 6 sessions. But the truth is, many of the blocks you feel aren't just emotional, they're existential. Your procrastination isn't laziness. Your fear of being seen isn't a quirk. These are symptoms of a deeper disconnect from your soul's original instructions. You were born with something inside you, a blueprint, a vibration, a potential. But somewhere along the way, the world convinced you that fitting in was more important than fulfilling it. So you buried it. You adapted. You survived. But now that suppressed self is waking up, and it won't stay quiet anymore. That's what the tension inside you really is. The war between who you had to become and who you were always meant to be. It's not depression. It's a dead end, a signal that the version of you that kept things together is no longer enough. You can't just cope anymore. You have to transform. And transformation is not about becoming someone else. It's about letting go of what was never really you. The false agreements, the inherited shame, the unconscious roles. They were useful once. They kept you safe. But now, they're prisons. And your soul came here to break them open. You are not here to live a small life. You are not here to stay silent, invisible, compliant. Your soul chose this incarnation for a reason. Because this body, this timeline, this reality offers the exact experiences you need to grow into your full capacity. And part of that capacity is service, not in the performative sense, not to prove your worth, but because when you become whole, your very presence begins to heal others. You don't have to try, you just are. And through that being, others remember who they are too. But none of that can happen if you keep trying to skip the hard parts, if you keep chasing shortcuts and 5-step fixes. There is no technique that will save you from yourself. Only intimacy with your inner world will do that. Radical self-honesty, sitting with the discomfort, feeling what's been unfelt, letting the grief move, letting the rage speak, letting the shame melt. This is the real work, and that's why most people avoid it. It's not glamorous, it won't get applause, but it will give you back your life. Because underneath all of it, the pain, the fear, the numbness, there is still something untouched, something ancient, something powerful. And it's not outside of you. It's in your breath, in your bones, in the silence when you stop pretending. That's the place your soul has been trying to bring you back to. Not so you can escape the world, but so you can finally show up in it as who you truly are. You came into this life with a seed, a raw, untouched core that carried all your potential, all your gifts, all your truth. And the world, without even meaning to, did everything it could to bury it. Through fear, through shame, through expectations. You were taught who to be, how to act, what to feel, what not to say. And so little by little, you began to shape yourself into someone acceptable, manageable, predictable. But that seed never went away. It waited, quietly, until now. Because right now, you are being pulled back toward that original self. And that process isn't gentle. It can feel like everything is falling apart. Relationships no longer feel real. Goals lose their meaning. Your old identity starts to dissolve. And that's terrifying, because who are you if you're not what you built to survive? But this isn't the end. It's the beginning, a dismantling of the false so that the true can finally take form. You're not breaking down. You're breaking open. This is why the pain has gotten louder. Not because you're failing, but because your soul is finally strong enough to feel everything it once had to suppress. And as hard as it is, that's a good thing. It means you're ready. Ready to stop abandoning yourself for peace. Ready to stop hiding your fire to make others comfortable. Ready to stop shrinking, to fit spaces you've outgrown. You don't need to be liked. You need to be whole. And wholeness requires honesty. Brutal, loving honesty with everything inside you. You see, your purpose is not something you find. It's something you allow. It's not hiding in some future version of yourself. It's buried under the parts you've been avoiding. Your purpose is already here, in your wounds, in your rage, in your deepest grief, because those are the places where your energy got frozen. And when you return to them, not with judgment, but with presence, that energy begins to move again. And when it moves, you remember who you are, why you came, what you're here to do. You're not here to impress. You're not here to prove. You're here to live in alignment with the truth of your soul. And that truth isn't always comfortable. Sometimes it means walking away. Sometimes it means standing alone. Sometimes it means letting go of everything you thought would make you happy. But that's the cost of freedom. And you were born to be free. Not in the shallow sense of doing whatever you want, but in the deep sense of living a life that's true to your essence. That's where fulfillment lives. Not in achievements, but in integrity. So here's what's real. You have the capacity to impact more lives than you can imagine. Not by being perfect, not by being healed, but by being fully present with your own experience. The more you show up for yourself, the more others feel safe to do the same. That's the quiet power you carry. And it's exactly why your soul came here. Not to escape the world, but to transform it from within. Not by force, but by presence. Not through control, but through embodiment. This is how we change things, one awakened human at a time. Now that you've heard all this, the question becomes, what do you actually do with it? Awareness is powerful, but awareness without action becomes just another concept. If you want real change, it starts with how you show up. Today, not next year, not after you heal, now. Because the path to yourself doesn't begin with big revelations. It begins with small, consistent choices made from honesty. So here are some practices that aren't just ideas. They're tools. Use them. Not all at once, not perfectly, just with presence. First, start writing to yourself, not journaling your day. Write from the part of you that's scared, confused, angry, tired. Write like your life depends on it, because parts of you are still waiting to be heard. Don't censor. Don't fix. Just let the truth spill. Write letters to your fear, to your inner child, to the version of you that wants to give up. You'll be shocked by how much clarity lives beneath the chaos when you stop running from it and just give it a voice. Second, move your body. Your emotions don't just live in your mind. They live in your tissues, your gut, your chest. If you feel numb, stagnant, lost, move. Walk without headphones. Shake. Breathe deep into your belly. Scream into a pillow. Lay on the floor and let your body lead you. Release isn't mental, it's physical. You don't have to know the story behind the feeling to let it go. Trust that your body knows what your mind forgot. Third, unplug from noise. Every day, give yourself at least 10 minutes without input. No phone, no scrolling, No music, just silence. Sit with yourself. Feel the urge to run, to distract, to escape. And don't. Not because it's comfortable, but because learning to be with yourself is the foundation of self-trust. And self-trust is the foundation of real purpose. If you can't sit in your own presence, you'll keep abandoning yourself to fit into someone else's life. Fourth, question every should in your life. Every time you hear yourself say, "I should be further by now. I should be more confident. I should know what I want." Pause. Ask, whose voice is that? Is it even mine? You've inherited so many internal rules from parents, teachers, society, but most of them were never about your soul's truth. They were about control, survival, belonging. Let them go. You're not behind. You're right on time for your actual path, the one that begins when you stop performing and start listening. Fifth, follow your aliveness. Stop looking for the perfect plan. Start noticing what makes you feel even slightly more alive. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to be profitable. It just has to wake something up inside you. That spark, that's your compass. Follow it. Every time you do something just because it lights you up, you are remembering, you are returning. And over time, that return becomes a life. Sixth, serve someone. Not from obligation, from presence. There's always someone near you who needs to be seen, heard, reminded they're not alone. Sometimes the fastest way to reconnect with your purpose is to step out of your story for a moment and be fully with another human, not to fix them, just to witness. It's not about becoming a savior. It's about remembering we're all in this together, and that remembering makes the pain more bearable because it becomes shared. Seventh, choose honesty over harmony. Every time you lie to keep the peace, you fracture your own center. Start telling the truth, gently but clearly. This doesn't feel right for me. I'm not available for that. I'm figuring things out, and I need space. These sentences might shake your world at first, but they'll save your life in the long run. Because when your words match your truth, your energy starts to align. And when your energy aligns, doors open that you didn't even know existed. Eighth, stop waiting to feel ready. You won't. You don't become ready. You become willing. Willing to try. Willing to fail. Willing to be seen before you're perfect. If there's something pulling at you, a project, a conversation, a shift, start. Even if you're messy, even if you're scared, especially if you're scared, because fear isn't always a warning. Sometimes it's a signal that you're standing at the edge of a life that actually matters. And finally, come back to your why. Not the ego one, the deep one. Why are you really here? What do you know in your bones you're meant to bring into this world? It might not have words yet. That's okay. Sit with it. Let it grow. You don't have to chase a legacy. You just have to live your truth, fully, visibly, unapologetically. The rest will take care of itself. This is not an easy path, but it's the only one that will ever feel real. And you don't have to walk it alone. If you recognize yourself in these words, write in the comments, "I'm done running from my pain." Let's see how many of us are truly ready for the truth. If you feel it's time to meet your shadow, write, "My darkness is my power." Let's create a space for those who aren't afraid to go deep. If you're done playing roles, write, "I'm taking off the mask." Let's find each other. If this changed something in you, write, "I accept my shadow." Write it as a commitment to yourself. This is only the beginning. There's more. But now, you know where to start. We're sure you've discovered plenty of value, so subscribe now and stay connected.